Imagine a world where the streets are so crowded you can barely take a step, where buildings rise so high and so close together they almost block out the sky. A place where the buzz of the crowd never stops, day and night. Welcome to the most populous places on planet Earth. In this journey, we will delve into the depths of the most densely populated cities in the world. Places where humanity gathers in numbers that defy imagination. Get ready for a trip that will challenge your perception of personal space and redefine the concept of crowd. Our first stop is Mumbai, India. With an estimated population of over 20 million inhabitants, this metropolis is a true human anthill. But what makes Mumbai truly extraordinary is the population density in some of its areas. Have you heard of Dharavi? This Mumbai neighborhood is considered one of the largest slums in the world. Here, over 1 million people live in an area of just 2.1 square kilometers. That means, on average, you'd find almost half a person per square meter in Dharavi. Imagine living in a space smaller than a parking spot. But what drives so many people to crowd into this place? The answer might surprise you. Dharavi is not just a place of extreme poverty, as many imagine. It is a bustling center of industry and commerce, generating an estimated annual revenue of over $1 billion. The narrow alleys hide a myriad of small factories and businesses, from plastic recycling to leather and ceramic production. Life in Dharavi is a constant dance between chaos and order. People have learned to maximize every inch of available space. Multi-story houses are built so close to each other that, from above, they appear to form a single vast roof. The streets are so narrow that, in some places, you can touch the walls on both sides by extending your arms. We leave India and fly east, arriving in Hong Kong. This city-state is known for its towering skyscrapers, but what many do not know is that Hong Kong houses some of the most densely populated neighborhoods on the planet. In Mong Kok, a district of Hong Kong, the population density reaches an incredible 130,000 people per square kilometer. To put that in perspective, imagine fitting the entire population of a medium-sized city into an area the size of a football field. But the real puzzle of Hong Kong lies in its coffin homes. These residential buildings house apartments so small they barely fit a bed. Some are only 1.5 square meters, smaller than a parking space. People living in these tiny spaces are known as cage dwellers. How is it possible to live in such a cramped space? Residents of these apartments have developed incredible skills in organization and adaptation. Every inch is used ingeniously. Shelves are installed from floor to ceiling. Foldable beds are used to create space during the day, and many objects have multiple functions. But why do people choose to live this way? The answer lies in Hong Kong's unique economy. The city is one of the world's major financial centers, attracting people from all over in search of opportunities. However, space is extremely limited, making real estate absurdly expensive. For many, living in a coffin home is the only viable option to stay in the city. Our next stop takes us to Japan, more precisely Tokyo. With nearly 38 million inhabitants in its metropolitan area, Tokyo is the largest urban aggregation in the world. But what makes Tokyo truly fascinating is not just its size, but how it manages to function so efficiently with so many people. In Tokyo, overcrowding has reached such extreme levels that it has led to innovative and sometimes bizarre solutions. Have you heard of capsule hotels? These establishments offer rooms that are little more than coffin-sized boxes stacked on top of each other. Originally designed for workers who miss the last train home, these hotels have become a housing option for some. But the real mystery of Tokyo lies underground. Beneath the city's busy streets, there is a completely different world. Underground passages stretch for kilometers, housing shopping malls, restaurants, and even apartments. Some Tokyo residents spend entire days without seeing the light of day, living and working in this underground world. Shinjuku Station, the busiest in the world, is a microcosm of Tokyo's population density. Every day, more than 3.5 million people pass through this station. That's more than the population of many countries. During peak hours, special employees, known as pushers, are hired to literally push people into the overcrowded trains. We leave Japan and fly south, arriving in Manila, Philippines. This city is a demographic enigma, with a population growing at a dizzying rate. What makes Manila unique is how it handles this explosive growth. In Tondo, one of Manila's most densely populated districts, more than 70,000 people live in each square kilometer. To understand what that means, imagine fitting the entire population of a small city into a single block. But the real mystery of Manila lies in its cities within the city. Huge cemeteries, such as Manila North Cemetery, have turned into vibrant communities. Yes, you heard right. People live among the tombs. Entire families build their homes on and around graves, creating a bizarre mix of life and death. How did this happen? The answer lies in Manila's rapid urbanization. As more and more people migrated to the city in search of opportunities, livable space became increasingly scarce. Cemeteries, with their large open areas, became an attractive option for those who had nowhere else to go. Life in these cemetery cities is surprisingly normal. Children play among the tombstones, small businesses thrive, and the community has developed its own unique rules and customs. Residents often act as unofficial guardians of the graves, taking care of them in exchange for a place to live. Our journey now takes us to Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh. This city is a true demographic enigma, growing at a pace that defies understanding. With a population of over 21 million in its metropolitan area, Dhaka is one of the fastest growing cities in the world. But what makes Dhaka truly extraordinary is how it deals with this explosive growth. In some neighborhoods, the population density reaches an incredible 100,000 people per square kilometer. To put that in perspective, it's like fitting the entire population of a medium-sized city into an area the size of a shopping mall. The real mystery of Dhaka lies in its mushroom houses. As ground space becomes increasingly scarce, residents have started building upward, literally. Houses are built on top of other houses, creating structures that seem to defy the laws of physics. Floors are added precariously, often without planning or official permission. How do these structures stay upright? It's a question many engineers would like to answer. The truth is, many of these constructions are dangerously unstable, but the need for housing is so great that people are willing to take the risk. Life in Dhaka is a constant negotiation with space. Streets originally designed for pedestrians and rickshaws are now congested with cars, buses, and the ubiquitous tuk-tuks. Traffic is so intense that many people choose to live close to their workplaces, even if it means living in extremely cramped conditions. We leave Asia and fly to Africa, arriving in Lagos, Nigeria. This megacity is a demographic enigma, growing at a pace that defies all predictions. With an estimated population of over 21 million, Lagos is not only the largest city in Africa, but also one of the fastest growing cities in the world. What makes Lagos truly fascinating is how it handles its explosive growth. In some areas, the population density reaches 12,000 people per square kilometer. But the real mystery of Lagos lies in its floating communities. Have you heard of Makoko? This is a community built entirely on stilts in the Lagos Lagoon. It is estimated that more than 100,000 people live in this Venice of Africa, although the exact number is unknown. Houses are built on stilts, and streets are replaced by canals navigated by canoes. How did this water city come about? The history of Makoko dates back over a century when migrant fishermen established a small settlement on the lagoon. Over the years, as Lagos grew and land space became increasingly scarce and expensive, more and more people were drawn to this aquatic community. Life in Makoko is a constant challenge. Houses are often flooded during the rainy season, and access to basic services like electricity and clean water is limited. However, residents have developed ingenious solutions to these problems. Solar panels provide electricity, and rainwater collection systems help meet the need for fresh water. But Makoko is not just a place of poverty and struggle. It is a vibrant community with its own schools, churches, mosques, and even a floating soccer field. The local economy is primarily based on fishing and trade, with floating markets that are a truly unique sight. Our journey now takes us to Egypt, specifically Cairo. This ancient city is a demographic enigma, with a population of over 20 million people in its metropolitan area. But what makes Cairo truly fascinating is not just its size, but where some people choose to live. Have you heard of the City of the Dead? This is the name given to a series of historic cemeteries in Cairo that, over the years, have turned into residential neighborhoods. It is estimated that more than 500,000 people live among the tombs and mausoleums. How did this happen? The story dates back centuries when cemetery guards began living near the graves they protected. Over time, as Cairo's population grew and housing became scarcer and more expensive, more and more people began to move into the cemeteries. Life in the city of the dead is surprisingly normal. People have adapted the funerary structures for residential use. Mausoleums have turned into living rooms, tombs into bedrooms. The streets between the graves have become bustling alleys with small shops and workshops. But the real mystery of the city of the dead lies in how the living and the dead coexist. Many residents act as unofficial guardians of the graves, taking care of them and even performing rituals on behalf of the families of the deceased. It is a place where past and present, life and death, blend uniquely. We return to Bangladesh, but this time to explore more deeply the enigmatic city of Dhaka. With a metropolitan population of over 21 million, Dhaka is a maze of contradictions and mysteries. The true enigma of Dhaka lies in its ability to absorb a constant influx of migrants. It is estimated that 2,000 people arrive in the city daily in search of a better life. But where do all these people go in an already overcrowded city? The answer lies in Dhaka's invisible cities. Entire neighborhoods emerge overnight, built on vacant lots, riverbanks, or even in landfills. These informal settlements, known locally as bastis, house millions of people. But the most surprising thing is how these neighborhoods function. Despite the lack of official planning, they develop their own social and economic structures. Improvised markets emerge, offering everything from fresh food to second-hand electronics. Informal schools are established in shacks, providing education for children who would otherwise have no access. Life in these neighborhoods is a constant struggle against adversity. During the monsoon season,